All right. Well, hello, everyone. I found another fantastic Instagram mom that I am interviewing today. I have Sam here with me, and Sam has 4 kiddos, which is so exciting and impressive, 2 in the military and 2 at home. And she says that she homeschools as well. So that is quite an accomplishment. And so welcome, Sam. Hello.
So much.
Yes. And so I know that you have lots of little hobbies and things that you like to do, but we want to focus on the pottery today. So tell us a little bit about how you were introduced to pottery and how you got this started.
Well, we had moved to Idaho and I didn't really know anyone and I wasn't really connecting with anyone. And so I decided to take a class in something, try something new and do something that I would be interested in and might find like-minded people that were interested in the same kinds of things. And I fell in love with it. I never stopped. Once I took that first class, I kept taking classes for over a year. And then I started purchasing my own stuff.
Wow. So what type of learning curve is there in this industry? About how long did it take you to figure out pottery to the point where you felt comfortable and thinking about maybe starting your own business?
I think everyone's different on that. I took to it right away, so it took me a little over a year. And then I was like, this is something I really want to do. I'm passionate about it. It's one of the things that makes me feel like me because sometimes as a mom, you kind of get stuck in just a
Mhm.
mom, just a
Yeah,
wife. And I was like, this makes me feel like me and all of those things. It enhances everything. So I
that's
just fell in love with it and went with it.
That's perfect. So, what type of education? It sounds like one of those things that if you just really want to learn, you can go and find someone locally. Do you feel like for the most part in the pottery industry, there's always someone in each state or in the cities that you can connect with and hopefully learn about it? I don't know if they offer classes at the colleges or how that all works. Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure about anywhere else, but I know locally they have some classes, and I'm pretty sure even some high schools do some pottery classes.
Yeah.
And so, if they're in a high school that offers it, any alternative classes, I would say try as many different things as you can. And then, just kind of go from there. Take advantage of it because it is pricier when you're out on your own.
Mhm.
So you have to pay for the class and you have to, if you're not paying for the class, you have to pay for the wheel. You need the materials to do it. It's not something you could just do typically without the tools.
Right. So it does sound like if there was a class in a high school setting, that would be great because you would have like somewhat free access to get your hands on it to see if that's something that you enjoy doing and might want to learn more about. So kind of give us a feel for the expenses involved. How expensive are pottery classes to take in to learn?
They're not that expensive if you really want to do it. It gets more expensive if you decide to like keep doing it at,
Mhm.
at home.
Right.
But the classes start, I'm not sure, but right around I would say 70 to 100 plus dollars a month. And depending what level you are will depend on how many pieces you can get that month. And it usually includes the firing, the glaze, the stuff they have there to do it.
And about how many classes a month will that pay for? Or
That
is it
pays.
just
I
for a
know it
product?
for Puffy Mondays, you get one class a week, and then you can come in anytime they're not having another pottery class. So you can take advantage of as much time as you want in there. That's what I used to do. Anytime there wasn't a class, I was trying to get in there and take advantage of it. And the clay is actually relatively cheap, speaking of the whole overall price of everything.
Mhm.
So the clay was the cheap part. And then once I had paid for the month, I would just get in there and try to throw as much as I could and just take advantage of what I was already paying for and then just getting the practice by going in there whenever there weren't classes.
Okay. So what was the turning point for you? At what point did you even get the thought in your head, I can do this. I can make a business out of this.
People started asking if I sold stuff. And then I had a really great business mentor coach She's one of the teachers there. She's the owner of Puffy Mondays. And she just kind of was like guiding me and giving me that confidence. Like, I think you might be ready to start selling your stuff. I think you should look into, ways to get your stuff out there, whether it's going to the vendor shows
Mm-hmm.
or an online. She really promotes online platform because she really believes in it, especially nowadays. So, probably a little push from her and just people asking if I was going to sell my stuff and then getting overloaded with it.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing way to get going, is just people noticing what you're doing. And that's just a great compliment and kind of a boost to get going on your own. So what were the steps that you took, or what are some practical steps a teenager maybe could take if they're thinking that this could be a possibility for them to get a business rolling?
Well, I would start probably at like the markets. A lot of high schools do markets at different times of the year, the holiday markets. So that's a really good way for them to transition right from in high school, and then use the high school to kind of do that. And then there's some people that do consignment shops. So I had my stuff in consignment shops for a while, but I didn't feel like I had hands-on enough with that. So that's why I switched to the online platform, because I wanted to be able to interact directly myself with the buyers, and I wanted to showcase myself to them, and I wanted to represent myself to them. And I just wanted to have that closer connection to them, and them to have access to me also if they had questions or just anything. I just wanted to be the direct contact.
And it's always fun to see your new pieces as you finish them and post them. So that is kind of a fun way. Is Instagram your main social media platform? Are there any other platforms that you've been successful with? Don't you also have like an online shop?
I have an online shop with Shopify, and then I have the Instagram, I have Facebook, and that's pretty much what I use right now. I do plan on looking into other social media platforms, like maybe making YouTube videos of more of the process
Yeah.
is one of the things I'm actually really thinking of doing, but that's mainly it.
I
I
think
think
that's
about
great.
I think about TikTok sometimes just because I know the younger
I
kids,
know.
but I'm like, I just don't know if I could do it myself. I'm like, oh.
Well, it kind of feels a little overwhelming for us as moms. I kind of avoided social media for a really long time until I kind of got this prompting that I should do this. And then I was like, oh dear, I've got to figure this out. But what's nice for them is it's like second nature to them. They just know how to get themselves out there. So I guess they probably don't even need our recommendations on how to do that. They probably have that handled. And
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I
good
have
for them.
teenagers. That's how I got so into social medias, because as the boys started getting older, I'm like, I need to get a more familiar with this, because that's how
Right.
I talk to them most of the time now.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, but something that I think for sure that you could help with is, how do you get connected with those local boutiques and little pop-up shops where you get to go and to sell your stuff at? Is there like a go-to spot to know where those are at?
I would start just doing the markets, because that's where you meet a lot of different people that may already have their stuff in shops. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I got a lot of my information from, was other vendors. I would say always when you're doing something, connect with the people that are doing the same thing.
Thank you.
Making crafts, working the vendor shows, consigning in the boutiques, like
Mm-hmm.
talk to those people. And I just started talking to them. I just started asking questions, how people got in there. A lot of them already have contracts in place. They already know what percentage they want. They already, or rent, like how they already have their own system usually. So if you just start asking questions, they're usually more than happy to answer them and talk to you.
Perfect. So, what type of investment are we looking at if we do decide this is something that we want to do in-house? I know that you have a little studio set up in your garage. Is that correct?
My husband built a lot of it. So he did a lot of the shelves and the flooring and the electrical stuff and putting stuff in. But if you just have a space and a wheel, you could just start off with that. And a wheel can range from 500 to 1,000. It depends on the model and how much, what you're using it to do. and so forth. But if you get that wheel, a lot of the local pottery centers will rent their kiln out. Like you don't even have to buy a kiln. You would just have to pay for the kiln load, each load. And so it's more work, but it's a, I think, reasonable way to do it and an affordable way to do it.
Okay, perfect. So, if you have the wheel and you have the clay, is there anything that you absolutely need in order to get rolling on your own?
Not really, just the glaze. I mean, it depends how much and how far you want to go with it and what you want to
Yeah.
do with it. That's the fun part, is it can be very simple and minimalist, or
Uh-huh.
you can get really, detailed in what you're doing. And there's tons of stuff you can buy for pottery.
So, how has it been for you? Did you do anything at all before you started the pottery? Were you just strictly at home, or were you working at other jobs? How has the transition to owning your own business in-house been for your family, and kind of juggling that mom role?
My youngest is 11. So they're all pretty independent now. I don't know if this is something I could have done while they were little still.
Right.
I did work before, but when I got pregnant with my third one and I weaned out of work, and then I stayed at home with them and homeschooled for 10 years plus years. So it was something that kind of, I don't know that I would have been able to do this when they were younger unless I was really passionate. I don't know either, because I didn't find it until I was older.
That is
So
true. And things probably fell into place for you at the right time. It was probably just meant to be at this time, and it
yes.
came together for you. So it seems like a lot of moms out there, especially when they have littles, if they're passionate enough about it, they can kind of figure out how to make it work. And sometimes that's later at night when the kiddos are in bed or whatnot. Um,
Yeah. Even now I wake up early. I try to wake up early or I'm staying up later to do those things, but they're pretty independent now, so I'm lucky I get to do a lot now than I did when I was younger. But I feel like if I was younger and found it, I would have made it work,
yeah,
because
for
I
sure.
love it and you're passionate about it. You will find a way to make it work.
Yeah, that's so great. So, what are the hardest part of your jobs and the most rewarding part of your jobs? I know that all businesses, there are some things that people don't love to do day in and day out, but things that they have to do. So, what are those for you?
Those would be the technical side. The uploading the stuff, the webs, like all the back end website type stuff. That's my least favorite part. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on how to do stuff. And my favorite part is that people are enjoying it. I just enjoy that people are enjoying it. It's really satisfying to me. I like making stuff, so when other people enjoy it, it makes me happy. It's true when you buy from a small mom business owner, they do a little happy dance for each order.
Yes, I'm sure. So wonderful. So, how much time would you say that it realistically takes to get a business like this profitable, given the expenses to get the equipment and the time in creating the pottery? Does it take
I'm
a
probably still in that curve, actually. Like, I feel like I'm just now starting to get to the point where it is becoming more profitable. Like I'm in that curve still. So I started the online part a little over a year ago at the end of March last year. And so I feel like I'm very new. I feel like it
yeah,
takes a year to 3 years to establish anything really, business or brand or name or whatever you're doing. I feel like you do need to stay committed and just keep at it little by little.
yeah, have some patience, put in the time, it'll come together. Yeah, but that's really good. And I think that's good for everyone to just kind of be thinking in their mind that it will take a little bit of time to get to the point where you feel like you can get some of that profit coming in.
Yeah.
So we already talked about how they can kind of get a handle of it just by taking some classes in high school, and obviously can take classes in the community, excuse me, if it's something you want to learn. um, what would you say now that you've been into this for a little bit over a year? What is like a normal day? I know that everything's a little bit off right now because everyone's at home for the most part. But what does an average day look like for a pottery maker?
Each day is different. I don't know if I can speak for every pottery maker because I have ADHD tendencies, so I'm a little all over the place sometimes. But I do try to, in the afternoon, like around this time, is when I'll either be on the computer working on uploading stuff. Yesterday, I took pictures in the evening, when it was cloudy enough to filter the light right. And the other day I did some throwing. It all depends where I'm at in the process. Also, I forgot to mention, my favorite part is the actual making of the pieces. That's what makes me passionate about it.
Right.
But it just depends where I'm at in the process. I just try to dedicate my idle time definitely to anything towards the business, whether I'm fulfilling orders or planning for the interview or getting ready for the vendor show,
Mm-hmm.
photography. Like, there's so much I could do. I do try to do a little bit at least every day, and then on the weekends is really when I get a lot of my stuff done. That's
Okay.
when my Saturdays, if they're not with sports or doing an event, I spend most of my weekends in the studio.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so there are a lot of little things that you have to be doing on a daily basis, especially to get yourself out there and people to notice you. Um, I like that. And do you have to have, I'm guessing you have to have like a tax ID, and is there like a seller's permit or something that it's required in order for you to sell?
At the vendor boutiques, or at the vendor shows, the markets, you have to have a tax ID. If you do more than 3 events a year, you have to apply for your own. But if
Okay.
you do 3 or less events, which there are some people that just do like 2 big events, one in summer and
Hmm.
one in the spring, and they'll give you a temporary one, or I mean in the winter, and they'll give you a temporary one if you do less than 3, but it's pretty easy. I did register mine as a business with Idaho State, so it does have its own tax ID. Like, if you go into a consignment store, that's all you need is the tax ID. You don't need the seller's permit. But doing anything out in the markets, you need the seller's permit. But you don't even really need either of those if you do online, and you do need the tax ID. Actually, I take that back if you do the online sales.
Okay. So anything involving sales is just safe to have that tax ID, and then
Yeah.
you're probably good to go there. So do you have any, what would your advice for teens be that definitely feel like they're artistic and they like that side of things? Um, is there any way for them to know if this is a good fit for them? Is there some other driving force, like discipline, that is required in order to be successful? Is there any recommendations that you would have for teens?
I would say don't be afraid to fail. They're so young that I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be afraid to fail, um, if I could do it over again. And just keep trying stuff. Be around people. When I was artistic and it's younger, you are kind of sometimes a loner and
Mm-hmm.
more introverted. But if you can put yourself out there, that's how I kind of started pottery. I forced myself to put myself around people who are like-minded. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're around those people, you'll usually motivate each other and build each other up, and you'll have your own little support system that, you know, help build you up. And just take art, try different things, do the things that you think you might like, and something might stick. There's a lot of people that are doing a lot of things with their art. Social media makes such a huge difference because you can put yourself out there and you can promote yourself, and you don't have to have a gallery showing your stuff. You don't have to get into a boutique. You can go do the vendor shows, or you can just do it online like a lot of people do. They just promote their stuff through their social media.
Yeah, it's true. It really is so much easier for this next generation moving forward to do almost anything that they want to do. And it's been so fun. And I've been so surprised and impressed with how many different moms have come up with these amazing niches, and they have
I
just ran with them, and they're making an amazing career out of it. So they're the exciting news is it's so much different for them than it was for us when we were their age.
way, yeah. That is the good thing about social media.
Right, internet was just barely getting going. And so we've come a long way in a really short amount of time, which is really exciting. Is there any last words of advice or encouragement or anything that you would say to a teenager out there, and especially some girls that they really want to be moms, and it's really hard because we get pulled in these different directions, and my path has not been perfect. I am a terrible example. um, I didn't end up the way I wanted to be a mom, and I need to help support my family, and the two have clashed. And so it's been a little bit rough for me, which is why I've kind of wanted to help um, girls out with this. But anything that you can offer, any words of wisdom as an awesome mom yourself that has pulled this together for you?
I think you're doing great. And I think all of us have our past that we feel like have clashed at times. I always felt like I was going to do something. I always felt like I wasn't really contributing, to my family because I was just a mom. I know I don't want to downplay that,
Right.
but you know what I mean. Like
Yes.
I'm just mom and a wife right now. And the funny thing is when I finally accepted that that is very important and that's very valid and that is nothing to be taken lightly. A lot of people wish they could stay at home and do these things. As soon as I accepted that gracefully and was like, okay, I am just a mom, that's kind of when pottery fell into my lap and this whole thing got started was because I had just accepted to be happy where I was and doing what I was and feel like it was just as important. I am contributing to my family in a different way and a very important way. And basically, when I stopped undermining my own self and my worth, I
Yeah.
kind of started finding things that made me feel better
Yeah.
and better. And then it just kind of, snowballed from there. But it was really just kind of accepting where I was and then growing from there.
I love that. That's perfect. And I think that's a wonderful place to end our interview today. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time today, Sam. Um, I I think that you are an amazing artist. I love to see your work pop up on Instagram. And I'm super excited to go to the Barn Boutique that's coming up at the end of May here. So anyone watching this, you guys should totally go and check out. And what I love about it is that there's going to be so many moms there that are perfect examples of mom first careers, that they have found something they're passionate about, they're sharing
Yeah.
it with the world, and they also get to be at home with their kiddos, which is the best of both worlds, and which is super exciting. So I'll post some information in the comments just to let everyone know where to find you and support you. And we'll be watching for some YouTube videos, so maybe we can learn a little bit of those tips and tricks and how to do it along the way.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.